Hello everyone, this is Melissa again with you in this presentation named Contradiction at its Finest. I will be discussing Herbert Simon's writing on the Proverbs of Administration and how how his theory can be effectively applied in management, but sometimes how maybe it cannot work. So, just to give you a quick summary of the Proverbs of Administration, he analyzes each step in the accepted administration principles. These principles were established in order to increase the efficiency of an organization, and those are specialization, unity of command, limiting the span of control, and grouping of coworkers based on process, purpose, place, or clientele. Now, what he says is that for every principle there's an acceptable opposite principle. So, kind of like Newton's third law. For every force, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And he tries to prove this by talking about specific areas. For instance, specializing workers. This is not as simple as it sounds. I mean, sure, specializing in a subject matter makes an expert. But if they're already specializing in their area of expertise, should this person be making a decision on the spot if need be, or should they go straight to a manager and take it up the chain of command pretty much? At the same time, what he says that this contradicts uh, this efficiency model because it's wasting time. Apparently, the subject matter expert should be the one making that decision, but instead, it's going to the chain of, through the regular avenues of going up the chain of command and wasting time to get word from the top down. So, what he says is that having one person to make a decision instead of the specialist, we're wasting time and therefore not having the most efficient machine in order to make decisions. However, everyone can agree that we need one person to answer to, and this is widely accepted because when we're answering to several people, then we become in this, we get into this mess, and we don't know whose orders should be followed. So, considering the contradictions of the principle if followed, he proposed that each principle be tested against science-based research rather than following the principles as a step-by-step procedure without any solid proof that the outcome is repeatable. So what he was saying was that we needed empirical data in order to support every principle that was mentioned for administration. So in the workplace, this is how I think this works. In the workplace, we need specific constants in order to get our goals and objectives accomplished. Um, in science and math, we have learned the use of constants. Constants are always true regardless of the situation. Take, for instance, pi. Pi is always equals to 3.14. Why? Well, our evidence is the equation, how we get 3.4. And that is the distance around the circle divided by the distance across the circle is always 3.4. So we have our constant and we have or evidence that supports it. And this allows us to problem solve as, for area and circumference of a circle. So how do we apply it to real life? Well, let's take our jobs as an example. As a unit, we have a job to accomplish, and this always needs to remain true. For my line of work, for example, we have, salmonella gets people sick. Why? Well, the CDC states that salmonella is associated with eggs and then results in many people getting sick a year because consumption of contaminated eggs. Well, we have our facts and evidence. Based on the facts and evidence, we make our mission statement, which should always hold true. In my case, it's ensuring that eggs have been properly labeled, transported, refrigerated, and are wholesome and safe to eat. So we have policies and regulations in place to help us accomplish our mission statement. As long as our mission statement is constant, we will always know how to solve the problems with any situation that might arise. But is this really true? To me, trying to make when dealing with people, we bring in a variable. Human behavioral is not constant. Although the concepts of getting people, salmonella getting people sick, salmonella being in eggs, human behavior, we're not able to make this a constant. So even if the mission statement remains a constant, it does not mean that the decisions we make will be constant. This will depend on the perception of an individual making the decisions or whatever current situation that is happening. And sometimes, are we making exceptions to this rule? Sometimes when we're trying to think of these constants, we end up with generalizing and making if-then situations. This is what will happen. I guess the point that I'm trying to make here is that we can try to make certain things be, or certain goals be, and certain procedures to be constant. However, human behavior adds a variable to it, and we cannot make it so that it's always 100% supported by empirical evidence. The only thing we can do here is account for variability, and this is where I don't necessarily agree with Herbert Simon's writing. This pretty much completes my presentation. If you have any questions, comments, or any ideas where I could make this better, or I can even think about this more thoroughly, please feel free to let me know. Thank you.